today. This is our latest copy of Adulting 101 in our remote locations all around the country, depending on where you're currently at. I know a few of you are still here in Fort Wayne with us, but today we're going to be with the Career Center. So with us today we have Ryan, Demetria, and Brandon, and Andrea and I will be sitting here to moderate and field all the questions for you guys. So please, if you have any questions, make sure to type them in the chat, and Andrea and I will prompt our friends from the Career Center to answer them when they can. Now, as a reminder, if you did not know, you will get a free gift if you RSVP to this event. So if you click the link to Commons 803 here, you can RSVP and get sent a gift. Otherwise, you'll be muted in order to help us keep the call quality up. And this series is designed for all students in mind because this is from all these different topics are picked by groups of students that showed an interest in things they wanted to learn post-graduation. So we're here to do the best we can for you. Otherwise, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan.
Thank you for the introduction, James. So welcome, everybody. As James said, we are the Indiana Tech Career Center. My name is Ryan Seiler. I have been a career coach here at Indiana Tech for about 2 years, and I was a student at Indiana Tech before then for about 6 or 7 years at this point. I'm here with two of my great coworkers. I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Demetria, and I'm also a career coach. I've been with Tech coming up on 2 years in August, and I also was a student at Tech. I did my master's program, finished in 2016. Seems like such a long time, but not really. So happy that you guys are with us today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brandon Birch, and I have been with Indiana Tech for about 5 years now. I received my undergrad there, and I'm now currently pursuing a master's degree as well as being a graduate assistant for the Career Center.
All right, so today what we're going to talk about as our Adulting 101 topic is we're going to kind of talk about what the Career Center does and kind of our overall mission, which then will lead us into our different job search tools and kind of searching for a job in general, which all of our career tools and our missions really kind of pull us to anyway, because the goal at the end of the day is to find that job in your career when it's all said and done. And then we're going to go into a brief talk about life balance, kind of what that looks like, whether it's while you're in college, once you get out. We'll kind of talk about our experiences and then field any questions you guys may have about that. And then, of course, we'll go into the general Q&A. So if you guys have any questions over what we do, what resources we offer, about the job searching, or anything else really, we'd be happy to kind of field those questions and talk about it. So real quick to get this part out of the way, our mission is three-pronged. We start out your college career as you enter as freshmen with kind of career exploration and major investigation. We kind of target your values, your interests, and your personality in order to help kind of develop what your career path may look like and what you really are interested in. This is an important step in order to work through what your major may be if it's undecided or if you're unsure as you get into the beginning of your career in college. And we can kind of help you determine that so that your college experience and your major lead you into the career path you're looking for. As you move into your sophomore, junior year, we begin working with you on experiential education. This is the internship, the different opportunities you have to really learn about different careers, your specific career, and really what you hope to get out of it. And we can get you some of that experience outside of the classroom. And then as you enter your senior year and you are heading towards that end there, we begin working on perfecting that job search strategies. That's kind of what we'll be talking about today, what those skills look like and the different opportunities we offer throughout all 4 years to really help get you to that point. So while we're talking about that, if in chat you guys wouldn't mind, those of you who are here still, go ahead and type in what your major is and what year you are, whether it be freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. just so we kind of have an idea what our audience is for in live and that we can talk about while you're here. All right. So cool. I'll be keeping an eye on those as they come in. I'm seeing a lot of seniors and juniors so far. I say a lot of, I meant all of you, of course, that have answered so far. So yeah, so what we're going to be talking about, this job search, which leads directly into internship searching as well. It's a great place for you guys to start thinking about that and looking into what you'll want to do with those. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Brandon to kind of talk about our developing a professional resume and cover letter.
All right, thank you, Ryan. So looking at the job search process, the first step is to develop your resume and cover letter and have those documents ready for when you do go to apply for a job. So I'm going to go over a few important pieces of information to think about when you are creating these documents, and then I will kind of show you some different resources you can use while creating them as well. So a resume is a living, breathing document, and it's constantly changing and updating as you gain new knowledge, new skills, and new experiences. So it's not just one set document, it's continually going to be updated. One thing to think about when creating your resume is to really utilize your bullet points, your lists, to avoid long paragraphs that make it difficult for an employer to read quickly, because sometimes if an employer is running through a stack of resumes for a job application, they might not have a whole lot of time to read your resume in depth. So you really want to highlight that important information you want employers to see right away. Now, on the flip side, with your cover letter, an employer is going to have a little more time to sit down and read this. So this is where you can fill in those blanks on your resume, elaborate, and explain yourself a little better. Now, both your resume and cover letter are both going to change from job to job, especially your cover letter. So each job has a job description and different requirements and preferences of different skills and knowledge that they're looking for. So this gives you the opportunity to see that and really tailor your documents towards that specific job, utilizing keywords to really help yourself stand out better. So those are important pieces of information to think about when developing a resume and cover letter. And now I will take you to our website and show you some different resources that you can utilize. So here, if you come to the main Indiana Tech page, you will scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll find our Career Center tab. You'll click that, and that'll bring you to our Career Center page, or you could type in careercenter.indianatech.edu to go straight there. So now we'll scroll down, and we'll see our Job Search Resources tabs here on the left. We'll click on that, and we will scroll down to find our resumes and cover letters. So now we'll click the drop box for resumes, and we're going to look at the sample resume. As you can see, there are several other resources of information, different like how-tos to write a resume. Here I wanted to pull this up because this is our sample resume that kind of shows the layout and formatting of a resume. So if you're creating your resume from scratch, you can kind of follow this. One thing that we typically advise is to not use a resume template or a resume builder that has specific sections, because when you go to submit your resume online through an applicant tracking system, sometimes, not all the times, but information can get moved around and mixed up. So we usually advise just opening up a Word document and starting from scratch, kind of following an outline similar to this. You'll see several different sections there that you can add into your resume, descriptions under each section to kind of describe what information goes under each section and kind of how it's laid out. So that's a good resource to use when creating a resume or even, updating a resume. So now we'll go back and look at the cover letters. And we'll look at a sample cover letter as well. Again, there are several more resources that you can utilize. Here's what a cover letter typically looks like. You have your address at top with the date, followed by the employer's name and the company's address. Now, the first paragraph of a cover letter is kind of just going to be an introduction explaining who you are, why you're writing your letter. And then you're going to get into the body of the paragraph and really talk about why you are a good fit for the job. Like, why should an employer pick you? You're going to mention, the different skills and experiences that you have that relate to this job. So all that information you want an employer to say, okay, we want to select this candidate. You can also add why the job's a good fit for you. And then the last paragraph is just a quick conclusion, thanking the employer for their time and listing your contact information so the employer can reach back out to you. So those are some different resources that you can utilize when creating these documents to get your job search process going. I have a question I want to ask you all is, has anybody used our services regarding resumes or cover letters, or use any of our resources when creating your own? Awesome. We got a few yeses already, which is great. So I wanted to ask that because I wanted to bring to your attention that even during this time when we are all working from home and you are working through your online classes, that we're still here for you to assist you. We have our virtual career center where you can drop in and speak with our career coaches regarding, pretty much anything, not just specifically resumes and cover letters. All of that information on how to get to that is on our Career Center website, or you can always email the Career Center. What I'll do here is add the Career Center's email into our chat box. So now I think Ryan is going to move on to the next step of the actual job search itself.
Thank you, Brandon. So yes, for this slide, what I'm going to talk about and kind of show you and walk you through is our on-campus employment and job board called Warrior Jobs. So who in here, as I'm kind of talking in chat, has signed in or at least heard of Warrior Jobs? All right, wonderful. I'm getting a couple of different yeses. Perfect. And yes, just to make sure there's no confusion, Simplicity and Warrior Jobs are technically the same site. It's Warrior Jobs, but Simplicity is the company. So, perfect. Cool. So I'm not really going to go through the signing up process. It seems like a lot of you have been to it already. So I will very briefly go over logging in for the recording and those who may watch us in the future who have not been onto Warrior Jobs. But as you guys probably know, Warrior Jobs is our online job board, both for our on-campus employment and many companies in the area post jobs everywhere from internships to part-time to full-time employment opportunities. It's a great place where you can manage your resume and other documentation. You can upload your resume to Warrior Jobs. You can request feedback on it. And this is all in tandem with our virtual career center and what we do every day when we do get back on campus. And then as you can see on our slide here, there's a quick note from HR. If you do apply and get accepted to an on-campus job, you will need to do the following. HR will send you an email. They'll get you instructions to sign into Paycom. You will fill out any needed documentations, and you will need an up-to-date I-9. Go ahead and Google that if you don't know what an I-9 is. It will help you to figure out what that is and get what you need to update it there. You will also need a social security card. So if you are here on campus away from home and you're going to look for on-campus opportunity, do know you will need that social security card. So if it's still with your parents or whatever the case may be, you will need access to that. So real quick, as I said for the recording, to get to Warrior Jobs / Simplicity, you can again go to the indianatech.edu homepage. You will click Hire a Warrior here, and it will take you to this sign-on page. You'll click on the Student Alumni option and log in using your student email. Of course, this is not my student email. This is my alumni account, but it will look the same once we're inside. If this is your first time ever logging into Warrior Jobs, you will use your student email and your student password. It will then open up into a quick information sheet that you will need to fill out to kind of round out the rest of your profile. And from there, you will receive an email at your student account. You will need to click the link within said student account, and then we will get a notification in order to approve your account. Myself and some of my other teammates are in the system every day, so as soon as we see those, we approve them and get you into the system. Once you do log in, this is what you will see. At the top here, you will see any new notifications or announcements we want to make to you. As you can see, we have a new chat function which is active. I'll show you where that is. That's a place to quickly get the information you're looking for. If it's a quick, small question, you don't want to set up a full appointment with one of the career coaches, this chat function may be for you. That can be found if you scroll down a little bit right here with Chat with an Advisor. This will connect you with any of us who are live on the chat function. You can ask a question, and then when we see that, we will be able to quickly answer said question. If the question ends up being bigger than you thought or needs more detail, we will also be able to kind of help direct you to the virtual front desk or kind of help set up an appointment for you through this as well. Now, we're all really here to see what kind of job opportunities we have available. And we are still getting internship and job opportunities even during this situation we find ourselves in now. Under the jobs here on the left, you will click here and just immediately go into search. And this will open up your front page here. This has a couple of different quick carousels to walk you through some targeted, curated jobs, other people in your major that have looked at certain jobs in the system, the latest jobs we've had added, so on and so forth, for a kind of quick glance for you to take a look at opportunities we have. If you are looking for something more specific, we of course have keywords and filters for you to kind of look through. Now, one of the big things with these filters that is really nice is, let's say you're looking for a full-time within the accounting industry, and you see that there are two options that hit those criteria. Now, if neither of these really hit what you're looking for, but you want to know when a new job drops for this specific filter, you can create what is called a job alert. I just created this for myself. So any new job that falls with these settings will send me an email and will let me know that a new job has dropped with my criteria. You can make as many or as few of these as you like. And of course, you can manage them here and when you get the emails. Go ahead and delete that so I don't get a bunch of emails. The only other quick thing I will talk about here in the system is keywords. If you are looking for on-campus employment, you'll want to search Warrior. We don't have any jobs in the system now. This is due to COVID and the different things and no one being on campus. As we get closer, there's more information on what's going on. If you're going to look for on campus, this would be how you, oh, those are also still on there. So we do still have 4 active, but as I said, I don't think these are truly active due to COVID and what is going on. But keep an eye on this. You can create a job alert with the term Warrior. So again, this will give you an email whenever a new on-campus employment opportunity arises. I have been corrected. The student life jobs are active. So if you want to take a look at those and see what they are looking for, take a look. So that is the main job search function of Warrior Jobs. If you are looking for any other resources, feel free to stop by. We also have on the site different materials that can help walk you through the site and what else it can offer. We'll now move on to Demetria, who is going to kind of talk about our larger public search options that are available to you.
Okay, so outside of our Warrior Jobs platform that we strongly encourage that you become familiar with and you utilize, as this is a site that's going to be free for you to use as a tech student and as an alum in the future. To kind of branch out and get other perspectives, there are public job search engines that you could utilize. So we were going to be talking about Indeed.com, Monster.com, and last we will talk about LinkedIn. So a lot of these are going to be pretty similar to one another. You're going to search for jobs. You can apply sometimes directly to the website, or they will take you to the actual company site to go ahead and apply. You can make things customized. If you're looking for a specific location, a certain industry, you can get very specific with the way that you filter out and find jobs. You can save jobs for later to apply to. Maybe you're just scrolling for 5 minutes in between your classes and you know you want to apply to a job but you don't have time. You can always save that and you can go back and apply when you have more time. You can make a profile similar to Warrior Jobs, upload your resume, any of your other documents that you will want to send, so that it's quick and it's easy and it's on hand. You don't have to worry about saving it to a folder or USB or something like that on your computer. And then you can have set up things called job agents. So in the chat, can you guys tell me if you're familiar with the term job agents? Okay, so we've kind of heard of the term, it seems like, but maybe not know what it is. So basically, a job agent is a setting to where you can create on either your profiles where you go through and you can say, you know, if you ever notice you're getting a lot of emails like, hey, this job just dropped, go ahead and apply. It could be based off of the industry you're applying for or just jobs in general that are available for people to apply to. You can set these settings on your profile so that you can get early access to them or have them be accessible to you. A lot of times they'll come through your email. So if you're ever checking your email, you'll start to see new notifications, new jobs, new internships, new whatever popping up, so you can directly go to the site and apply from there. So that's just another way, especially if you're job hunting and you're constantly kind of in the search and looking for different opportunities. Job agents will kind of make it a little bit easier for you to go ahead and get that information. All right, so let's go ahead and go to Indeed.com for those who don't know what that website looks like. So pretty similar to what we've already seen with Warrior Jobs. All you need to do is type in job titles, keywords, a company. You can be very specific, and then you can type in a location and then press find jobs. and then you see what comes up. So sometimes it'll be specifically what you asked for. Sometimes it'll be jobs that you might be interested in that haven't came up. So maybe it's a company similar to what you were originally looking for. Maybe one of your keywords has to do with a warehouse, let's say. Warehouse jobs from all over are going to pop up around that area so that you can have a broader search. You can obviously filter it out, make it very specific. Are you wanting to be in a certain city? Would you want a part-time versus full-time? How far away do you want to go from where you live? You could do desired salary as well. There's all types of different things. Experience level, if you're looking for entry-level position, you only want to see those positions. You can go ahead and list those as well. And that's probably going to make it a lot easier, especially if you don't know exactly what you want to do, but you know that you only have a certain level of experience. It makes it easier. You're not just applying for jobs just to apply, but you're making it very specific to your skill set. So now we're going to go to monster.com. And Monster, pretty much the same if you've never seen the site. They also have options to where you can upload your resume, find jobs, same way as you would with Indeed or anywhere else. And you can just see what pops up. Sometimes you'll find that certain companies post on certain sites. A lot of times you'll start to see that they're all on the same things, but sometimes not. So it's always good to kind of look around in different areas to see if you're seeing the same opportunities on each of these different websites, because you never know, you might not. So you have that option as well. Again, make a profile. They have a lot of different things that you could do. They have tools as far as salary goes to kind of gauge what this company is paying and how much industry-wise you should receive in that area. You can get help with your resume, although we offer the services in our offices. If you just want some extra pointers or want to know kind of what's new in resumes so far, you can kind of look at it. It's some good research things that come along with these sites as well to kind of keep you up to date with what's going on in your industry. So next we're going to go to LinkedIn. And this is a profile. So when you make a LinkedIn account, your LinkedIn will look something similar to this. You always want to start out with a profile picture. You always want to do a headshot if at all possible. And if you stop by the Career Center, we do make headshots for all of our students. So let's say you come in on a professional dress day. You're already looking pretty good. We can go ahead and take your picture and we can email that to you so that you can go ahead and upload that to your profile. You always want to get, chest and above. We really don't want full figure, faces, anything of that nature. So the headshot is the best and the most professional. You want to list kind of what you're looking for. You can have a headline that says what your current career is. You can say an Indiana Tech student looking for an internship opportunity, anything like that. Just something to catch the person's eye. This is similar to most social media things where there's like a tagline attached to your name. So that's a good way to kind of catch an employer's eye really quickly. If I know that, I'm a senior HIT major looking for an internship right there. That's what, if I'm an employer and I had that position, I could see it right away. We're going to go through this in more detail, but if you'll see as you scroll down, there's an about section where you can kind of give a little blurb of everything that you're doing. You can list your experience. So that could be your past work experience, internship opportunities, things of that nature, your education, a skills section, things that people would say that you have a skill with, that you've done in the past, people who can recommend you and endorse that you have that skill, and then also your interests, at companies that have positions that you may be looking to, things that you're interested in, things of that nature. You can kind of round it out with people, companies, groups, things of that nature. So now we're going to watch a short video on how to create a LinkedIn profile for those who may not have one already or need some tips on how to make it a great profile.
It's looking like your audio is not coming through.
I can do a quick look and see if I can get the audio working, but just to not hold up, Dimitri, if you just want to go through LinkedIn, we will see if we can get the video to work. Otherwise,
Sure. So, what the video will basically say, you're going to start off at the very beginning. So it's always going to start off with the top of the profile. So making sure that you fill in those sections is really, really important. A lot of people will create a profile, but they won't upload a picture. And, you know, if I see a profile that doesn't have a picture, my first thought is always a scam or something like that. Like sometimes we need to have photos to reinforce what we're looking at a lot of the times. Or, you know, if you have a very common name, but I can't tell if this is the person that I know because it's just a shadow box, am I going to want to connect with that person? So it just gives it a more personal touch. Your about section is always going to be similar to your professional summary in a resume. You want to say this is what the skill set that I have, the experience, what I'm looking to gain, things of that nature. So it can be a short paragraph, but kind of goes over the things that you are most interested in and what you want employers and other connections to pick up from you. You always want to make sure that you're connecting with people. I notice a lot of times during LinkedIn reviews that you may have a profile and you may follow 2 people. Well, you're not really going to be able to engage or network with others if you're not connecting. So make sure that you are doing connections, and that could be, you know, your peers, people who are in your class who are also kind of in the same position you are, looking for opportunities. Maybe they're getting hired for a company that has openings that you may be interested in. You wouldn't know if you didn't have that large network to pull from. Add your faculty members, staff members. Certainly add the Indiana Tech Career Center group, because we're constantly posting between our employer relations, employee, and just us in general. If we see things that are posted, whether it be internships, job opportunities, we're always sharing those things on our profile. So if you're connected to the Career Center or one of our career coaches, then that's a great way to kind of learn about what's going on, what's next. LinkedIn gives you the ability, if you would like, to write articles. So if you are really interested in the subject and you feel like you have something to talk about, you can go ahead and write something about that. It could be something short and sweet about maybe a project you did that you were really proud of, or an award you got, something within your industry that you just find interesting. You can go ahead and write that up, and that's a good way to kind of get some eyes on what you're writing, what you're doing, things that are going to be a little bit fascinating about you. Always, you want to list your experience. A lot of people will list their job, their title, and then the dates, and that's it. But tell me a little bit about that. What did you contribute? What was that value that you added to that position? Try to stay away from, you know, I was a cashier, so I handled money and I greeted customers. Tell me more. Were you given employee of the week or the month? Did you improve the process as far as getting customers in and getting them out? Things of that nature. What did you do that enhanced that job position for somebody who can come in after you and maybe pick up those things? So you always want to list stuff like that. And then at the bottom, skills. As you learn to get more skills, obviously education as well, you want to list that once you get it. For those who don't know, it's okay to list your high school education now. Once you graduate, you can slowly start to drop that off because you have a degree under your belt, and high school doesn't really matter as much. I have a lot of people try to fight me like, hey, I went to this school, this high school, and it's really prominent. Should I keep it on my resume or my LinkedIn profile? My suggestion is always going to be that you can drop it. Of course, bring it up in conversation if you feel like that's very important, but it's not necessary for your LinkedIn or your resume, just an FYI. But I hear it a lot that people just don't want to let that high school education go. You still got the diploma. We just are moving on to other things, and we want to showcase that. So we also have the skill section. So again, if you are constantly doing a certain skill and you know that you have a knack for it, and other people can recognize that in you, then they can say like, hey, yes, I know that this person has done this specific thing to the best of their ability, and I endorse that they are good at that task. So that's a good way to kind of, when you have more connections and you work with more people, then they can vouch for you. And that's the way to kind of grow your skill section, attract people to your profile, things of that nature. So yes, this is social media. There is an app for it. You can have it on your phone, on your desktop, whatever, but it's a lot different than what our other social media platforms are going to look like because it's very strictly professional. You're not going to see a lot of people posting about, their families or their dogs or their pets or their outfits. It's strictly about their industry, a lot of professional development, a lot of motivational posts and things of that nature. So this is going to be a site that you can utilize those days. It's not much for picture sharing and things like that. So now we're going to move on to what we do in our office that will prepare you for that next step in the job process. So in our office, we do a lot of different things in order to help you. So for starters, we always have mock interviews. We have those twice a year, typically in October and in March of that academic year. And this is a time, it's one of our biggest events of the year where basically we have employers who volunteer to come into our offices and they interview students on your behalf. So it's like a legit real interview. You're going to dress up. You're going to have your professional dress wear on. You're going to have your resumes together. You're going to send it in so that the employer has access to it before you arrive. They will come out into the lobby, take you back into one of our offices that we donate to them for that week. And you guys will go through an interview. So they'll ask you real questions. You will answer to the best of your ability. But then afterwards, you have an opportunity to connect with that employer and get some tips and some pointers, things you can improve on, things you did well on. A lot of times it turns into an opportunity to where you can have a better connection with that employer. So maybe they have an internship opportunity that's coming up. They could refer that to you, or they could know of a job that's going to be appearing and they can let you know. All these of our employers are typically within HR, so they're constantly dealing and interviewing with people all day. So they have the tips and the tools and the things that they're specifically looking for when it comes to an interview. So it's a great practice for kind of getting your feet wet when it comes to interviewing. A lot of times people are just nervous about interviews because we don't do it often enough. We don't know if we're saying the right things, if we're coming across as confident, things of that nature. So this is a really, really good practice. I highly encourage you guys to participate in mock interviews if you have the time left. We also have virtual mock interviews, which is honestly probably the best tool that you could utilize currently because no one's in their offices right now. But this is a good way to kind of practice for that interview because a lot of companies are going to virtual interviews in general where, you're doing a Zoom, you're doing a Skype, and they're asking you questions. So are you prepared to not only be interviewed, but are you familiar with technology? So it's good practice in both regards. So our virtual mock interviews are going to be on Warrior Jobs, and essentially you can create scenarios based off of industry, and they will ask you, it'll be pre-recorded questions that will ask you something, give you time to answer or think out your thoughts, and then you can record yourself responding to the question. So that's always a really good tip because after you've recorded yourself, you can always play it back and then you can see, oh, I play with my hair, or I stare off into space. I say and like a lot more so than what I thought I did. You get to see all those things from watching yourself that you may not have been aware that you did. Maybe you get nervous. Maybe you talk fast when you get nervous. I know I'm a victim of that myself. So it's a really good practice, just a self-awareness tool that you can definitely use, especially in this day and age that we're living in right now. We have professional dress days. We do them every month. So you can just stop in. It's a walk-in thing. You don't have to have an appointment. You walk into the office and one of our career coaches will critique your outfit. So it could be something as small as, hey, great outfit. Why don't you wear a tie next time? And then we can go over how to tie a tie, or hey, I like that outfit. Are you comfortable wearing heels for long periods of time? I see they're kind of high. If you were to go around a tour of the campus or the company would you be able to walk for long periods of time in a hill that high? Are you comfortable? So just kind of give you a couple little tips. We're not here to rip you apart, but we do want you to be prepared about the workforce that you're going into. And not every workforce requires the same type of dress code. So we try to cater it to that as well. But it's a really good tool. I think sometimes we just need an extra opinion. So that's a good tool. Currently, right now, if you would like a professional dress review, you can send a picture of yourself to our email and we can critique it that way. It's not as personal as coming into the office, but it's still a good tool, especially if you have something coming up and you're nervous and you want to make sure you're looking the best that you can. Feel free to utilize that opportunity. And then lastly, we have our etiquette meals. So we have done lunches and dinners in the past. And this is just a good way to kind of learn about the rules when it comes to interviewing over a meal. What food should you avoid ordering so that you don't get sloppy and things might spill, things of that nature? Who sits down first at the table? What is the proper etiquette? Which fork do you use and when do you use it? Things of that nature. It's just those little things that could kind of make or break an interview process. We make sure that you guys are equipped with that information. You know, we don't want to throw you out into the workforce and not be aware of some of these rules that employers are expecting that you already know. So that's a really, really good resource. And you always get a free meal out of it. So it's always a win-win with the Etiquette Meal series. And now that we're done talking about interviewing and social media and things of that nature, we're going to go on to our life balance section of the presentation.
Alrighty, thank you, Demetria. So now we'll look at life balance and different keys to success of just having that balanced lifestyle and not letting one part of your life, take over, and that way you're not going to be overwhelmed and everything. So I think the three of us will share some different personal experiences of our life balance and how we've adjusted over time. So for me, when I was an undergrad student, I was a part of the baseball team. And so for me, I was very busy with school, classes, and homework, practices, games, training. And especially when I was living on campus, I just felt everything, was mixed together. I felt like I was always in the mix and never really had that balance. It wasn't until I graduated and became a grad student while working part-time where I had to realize, I need to have a better life balance. And what helped me the most manage my time was prioritizing the different things that I valued and enjoyed. So that way I knew I was spending my time the right way, and I was able to make decisions around that and set different goals. And it just helped me, be able to step away and relax and keep myself sane, both mentally and physically. So for me, it was definitely prioritizing different things that I enjoy the most. So hopefully there will be some different tools here you can use to try and implement that in your life as well.
Yeah, so kind of going off of what Brandon said, I'm just a few years out of my undergrad as well, and the big thing you notice during your college career and while you're there as a student is that your kind of personal life, what you do outside of your work, quote unquote, which is classes, your sport, things of that nature, just tend to blend together. Whether you live on campus or are a commuter, everything's kind of done on campus, and that is both your getaway and your work life / class time. So as Brandon said, moving out, as you get to work, enter that workforce, you start to really find that it is two separate things: your time management and when you're working at work, and then your step away when you're home. How do you take yourself out of that and make it your kind of two separate lives? The big things I've found was the goal setting really helped me in this department, because I had my goals and I prioritized my time at work for those goals, and then I created separate goals when I'm at home. And this way I can really flip the switch and really find the difference between those two, to help. So if that's something you don't think you need now as a college student, that's fine, because everything's kind of mixed together and that's where you are at and like it. It is still something worth considering as you're moving forward and getting towards the end of college, that you will want these different things. What is your relaxation and what is kind of your step away? Because that will just become a bigger thing you think about as you finish off college.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and piggyback off of Brandon and Ryan. It seems like I haven't been in college for a really long time. But I guess not, it's not that long as I think it is. But when I was in undergrad, me personally, um, you're just in a world where it's not regimented by time in the same way that it is when you're in high school. You know, I pick when I go to my classes for the most part. I pick when I take my naps in the middle of the day. I pick and choose when I'm going to do homework. That might be 3 a.m. in the morning. That might be right after classes. Who knows? Like, I just had so many options and decisions that I could make on my own. No one was there to hold my hand and tell me when to do it. That when I got out, I realized that I didn't really have a good grasp on scheduling, on setting deadlines, because I had such a lax way of living life, because I wasn't really regimented in that way. Like, even my fun things, um, they kind of happened whenever I got there. You know, like, I didn't really plan it out or have anywhere that I needed to be outside of a few exceptions. So things that I've learned since being out of undergrad and even after as I got into grad school was just that goal setting, and just making sure that my priorities for the things that, whether that be, you know, working at this job because I'm trying to advance in my career, and also going to school, I had to separate the two. So, you know, I'm gonna go to work from this time to this time, 7:30 to 4:30, and then I'm gonna do my homework, hop on Blackboard at 8 o'clock. After 8, kind of wind down, and I'm gonna work on my homework and my assignments and my discussions until around 11. Then I'm gonna go to bed, do the same thing again the next day. So just kind of making a schedule and sticking to it was really, really helpful. And now that I'm out of grad school for a few years now, my biggest thing about balance is breaking away from this notion that we need to always be doing something. I constantly have to be producing. I call it the grind culture, where we just have to grind. We have to, you know, reach this level that we have set in our heads of where we should be at this certain time in our life. I leave my work at home. I don't take it with me. So it's kind of hard now, being that we do work at home. But for me, if I'm working in the living room and that's my office, I physically leave the living room when I get off work and I clock out, and I go to my room or I go outside or the kitchen, wherever, and I leave it there. I'm not checking emails after I clock out unless it's something pertinent. I'm not thinking about, you know, unless it's something like, hey, what are things I could do for the next day? I'm not fixating over what I have to do at work, or, oh my gosh, I have this big project and it's not due and I'm stressing out on my downtime. There's a fine line between being stagnant and being burnt out. And I think that I've just gotten to a point to where it's important to me to always be productive, but I can't be productive if I don't know how to turn it on and turn it off. So that's what's really been helping with me, especially in these times where it's like I'm in pajamas all day and it's easy to kind of get relaxed and kind of stagnant. Really, really being sure that I'm being regimented and thinking about those things has helped me through this transition. So that's coming on to our end of our presentation. So now we're going to toss it over to questions. If you guys have questions that you would like to ask us individually or things that we can answer at the group, this will be a great time. Thank you guys for sticking with us, even through our little technical difficulties. We really, really appreciate it. So go ahead and write in the chat if you have anything to tell us.
Thank you for the kind words, Nick. Okay, good. I'm not muted. Whew. If y'all don't have any questions, we do thank you for coming and seeing our presentation. Here is our contact information. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to contact us at careercenter@indianatech.edu, and we will be hanging out here until about 5 o'clock. So if anyone does have any questions or think of anything, feel free to.
Ryan, it does look like there's a question for you in the chat from Maxwell.
Let's see. How do you try to link your working? That's a great question. And we do have some different resources for this, and we can talk about it as well. But the biggest thing between two different job industries that we've found that don't have a whole lot of core connections, for example, moving from the food industry into finance, as you've said, or into engineering, are those what we call soft skills that you've really learned. Soft skills are the things that you can't really prove by just putting them on paper, but it's those skills that transition to anything. The communication you've learned from working with customers in the food industry. It can be the time management skills you've learned from sports while at tech or anything else you've kind of done. It's those kind of soft skills that transition from everything in life. That's the big connectors you have between those two before you gain that full experience or you found those connections in engineering or finance. Anything to add, Brandon, Demetria?
No, I think you hit it for the most part. There are things to think about though, as far as the skills you can use. So maybe you worked in the food industry, really organizing different things in the restaurant, where this career field that you're transitioning to may involve organizing things as well. So even though you're not organizing the exact same things, you still have those skills that transfer. So that's what we like to focus on, is just those transferable skills that you can use that relate to multiple different industries.
Yeah, you guys said it pretty well. Yeah, those transferable skills. And we're actually going to be doing a webinar on Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time on changing careers. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more information, we will be posting that. It'll be a live webinar, but we also will record it and we'll send it via email if you aren't able to attend at that time. But yeah, we're going to be talking about changing those careers and focusing on those skills and kind of how to get into the mindset of switching to a different industry that you may have a passion for, but you don't have that technical skill set with you yet.
Great question. Any others?